Jeep, we've got an awesome video for you today, working on the Holy Grail build, trying to get it ready for SEMA, which is coming up real soon. In today's video, we're going to visit a master transmission builder, have a conversation with him. The lunch lady's going to bring us a couple of lunches, so stay tuned for that. We're going to put an entire axle in the washing machine, and we're also going to set up this front axle with a Barnes leaf spring kit. So stay tuned for that and more coming up. Alright, it's morning time. Josh is going to paint that thing today, so I just cut off the spring hanger. What do you call that thing? Spring perch. I just cut off the spring perch of that. We're going to roll this in, swap places, and then I'm going to get to cleaning up that while he is cleaning up that. Alright, I've been cleaning this axle up. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. I've been cleaning this axle up, and while I'm sitting there grinding, I was debating my life choices. So this axle that came with the Toyota was a really good bargain, but I don't know, they just had some crazy stuff going on with all of the welds on here, mostly on the stops right there, which I'm not sure why, because when you have a full hydro ram that acts as your stop, you can add additional ones, but this was stopped down a lot to keep. It's falling. I'm just gonna let it fall. Anyway, I cleaned up a lot of this other stuff, like here, and this guy was really bad right here, so I cleaned that up, made everything look a little more decent, and then what we're going to do now is weld right here. So what will happen a lot of times is you'll spin an axle, and what that means is that this tube separates from the pumpkin in the middle and spins, and that's really bad. You don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is come in here and weld this, but since this is cast, the best thing to do is heat that up. Josh, I've told you 1,000 times that those cords are 50 feet long.
They are.
I think you just like moving that thing around. We need to heat this up to 400 degrees, or probably won't go that high, but we're replacing all the bearings in here anyway, so I'm not too worried about toasting those, but we're going to heat this up to 400 degrees because these two steels are different. They cool at different rates, and if you don't do that, you'll likely get a crack right here. So that's what our next step is. One of the things I did get for this axle is a kit from Barnes 4-wheel drive for a Dodge axle, and that includes a longer leaf perch. The factory one was only about that wide, and this one is a lot wider. That's going to help with axle wrap, because when your leaf spring is on there, it wants to wrap back and forth, so that axle is going to be moving a little bit on there and wrapping those leaf springs, shaping them like an S. But with this being a lot longer, it keeps that down a little bit. It keeps it from wrapping so much. So that is going to get welded on the same angle as this pad over here. And then for that side, Barnes sent this as well. This is in the kit. This is the top plate for this side over here. Leaf spring goes right here, and then the top plate sits on top of that and bolts down. And then for this side, this will be the top plate. And you got 3 different options there, which is kind of nice if you want to move the axle forward, backward, or right in the center. When you guys go to buy stuff from Barnes, make sure to use our discount code BleepinJeep for 10% off. You can find that and other codes on BleepinJeep.com/discounts. I think I hear the lunch lady. Everybody's favorite time of the day. What do you got for us today, babe?
I got stromboli and salad.
You didn't need your apron today?
No, it didn't require a lot of frying today.
Oh man, what is stromboli?
It's rolled up pizza.
Rolled up pizza?
Yeah, it's got pepperonis, ham, salami, pepperoncinis. You know, food.
Come in here, we'll take a look at this. So that's a rolled up pizza?
Yes, you don't know what stromboli is?
Nope.
Are you serious?
Never had stromboli.
That is not true.
I don't think so. I've had, what's those other ones? Calzone. Yeah, I've had a calzone.
It's like a calzone that has stuff in it.
Calzones have stuff in it.
Calzones have cheese,
Cheese and pepperoni.
pepperoni.
This has more stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants a bite?
It's like a calzone.
Why is that always the eat noise? Do you actually say that when you eat?
Yes, tell me your eat noise. Gotta showcase this.
You're so weird.
We've got frosted bowls. Look at that, everybody. That is how you know a true chef from a fake one, is whether you have frosted bowls for your salad.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Well, what's he got?
I think that comes from Sesame Street.
Is that right?
Pretty sure.
That's because they can't eat, babe.
Alright, so it's pretty simple since this side is immovable. We're going to take our angle finder and we're going to zero it out right there so you can see that 0 degrees. And we're going to put it over here on this one. And I'm going to make sure that that is right where we want it. Right about there. And then make sure that's square. And then we're going to rotate that until we get 0 degrees and weld it into place. I'll double check it. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I've got this thing pretty darn hot on the ends right there. 450 and then 317.
Hear it boiling.
Something's boiling down in there. So we're gonna crank the welder all the way up as high as it'll go. Crank it. So hammering like that is supposed to take the stress out of it and realign all those molecules in there. We're splitting atoms.
Did a decent job with these ones.
Did we have any cracks that I need to go back over?
I think you got all the cracks, unless you wanted to lay another big huge bead over top of everything. Be just for looks more than anything.
Alright, we got that welded up. Now we're gonna cover it with a blanket, a fiberglass blanket. Keep it kind of warm. Let it slow roast for a little while.
Like a baby, you gotta swaddle it while it's fresh.
Gotta swaddle it. Ideally, you'd bury that in some sand. You got any sand?
No.
Alright, now we're gonna clean up the shop and switch gears a little bit here. Despite how small this bed is, it requires a lot of welding, and because of that, out of gas. Look at this. This thing has to be at SEMA in a couple of weeks, and I'm really starting to get scared because that's where we're at right now. But I have to run to the transmission shop and check this out. Because we're running so far behind, I've got a helper today. Kyle, say hello. Kyle is here. And they're working on the wrong vehicle, guys. We're supposed to be working on the Jag over there.
This one does stuff.
I'm not feeling very British today.
So the Scorpion needs some work because we're going on the 24 Hell and Back with Marvin from Flex Rocks and Rollovers, actually this weekend. So we have to get that thing prepared for 24 hours of straight off-roading, no brakes. So they're doing a bolt check on that, fluid check, making sure it runs good. And this thing is getting sidelined for a couple of days. You can see the Holy Grail Jaguar is up there on the lift. We've got the window in. And I need to go to Russell's Transmission to pick up the transmission. As you know, it's a manual transmission. It was working just fine, but since maintenance is not included in the budget, we decided to have Russell's Transmission just go through it, make sure everything was looking good, and then we're going to get it back. And made it back to the 12 valve, which is sitting right here. Josh got that all painted up. It's looking good and ready to rock. That axle needs a little work, however. So I'm going to hand this camera to you guys if you find anything fun. This looks like fun.
This is fun.
That is an ORI insides. There's unicorns and magic rainbow dust inside there.
There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Look at this thing. Look at that. What the heck does that do?
That moves fluid very slowly.
It's like an organ. Like a pipe organ, not like a heart.
All right, so here you go. Have fun.
I need something from you. We need a belt.
A belt?
Yes.
Or a Scorpion?
A 2016 Scorpion crawler.
Okay. Is it bad?
It's not great looking, so.
All right, have fun, guys. We'll see you.
Woo!
I'll be back shortly. All right, so let's make our way over to the transmission shop and see what Russell has to say about the internals of this transmission, whether they were in tip-top shape or not. I'm interested to know what was inside there. Well, there he is, Russell himself.
Back again.
How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
So this thing is a Get Rag. Is it 360 or something like that?
Yeah, I call it a Get Rag.
A Get Rag. So what did you find in there? It's looking pretty.
It has been built several times in its life.
Yeah.
This is a tapered bearing, like a wheel bearing, and you know you have to put drag on a bearing, tapered bearing, or they just flop.
Yeah.
So that transmission is designed like that. Well, it's supposed to be like 0 tolerance and then 6 to 8 thousandths shimmed crush on it. Well, it had an 1/8 inch of play, and the guts was just swagging in the middle.
Oh no. So is it a good thing that I brought it into you?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have made it. I don't know how it even worked. But the shims are supposed to be all in the back.
Uh-huh.
They had put them in the front, and it just ate them alive. I mean, just chewed them into pieces. 2 of the shifting forks in it, they had, I guess it's aluminum TIG, like that. I'm not a welder, so they had welded them up, and then the covers are real hard to take apart. So they just took a disc grinder and ground them back down. Well, they had the sliders all out of place and stuff and everything. So,
Oh wow.
some balls missing, had a snap ring missing in the bottom. So, but anyhow, it turned out really nice.
Well, it looks pretty. You even put a paint job on there
Like,
for us.
yeah, I thought I'd do that. I thought, now Josh will have to paint the transfer case and stuff and everything.
He will. I appreciate that. It looks great.
You might want to look at the shaft here. I polished it, but it had a little bit of marks on it. You might want to look at putting a pilot bushing in it up there because it's probably wore out. I didn't know if y'all pulled the clutch or not.
I think it was missing. I think the bushing was missing.
May have been. Two of these bolts on the bell housing, somebody had helicoiled these two and then stripped the helicoils out, so I had to go one size over. That was the only way to really fix it.
Oh,
So
man.
I got you a couple of bolts and washers to put it together with.
Somebody wants a hold of you bad.
That was my mom. I had to answer that. What are you going to do about a shifter?
We're gonna make something cool for that. It's got to go with the theme.
It needs to be a little bit tall.
Yeah.
It looked kind of like, what was that, rat pink stuff?
Uh-huh.
Because these things are hard and they're to shift and they're stiff to shift, so if you got a short one, you're going to have a hard time.
Well, the way it comes out of the jag is kind of like where the radio would be.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to come up a little and out and then up.
Yeah.
But I think we'll be able to get that working out.
Yeah.
But it's a Mad Max theme, so hopefully we can make some sort of Mad Max
Have
contraption.
a shifter on top of it.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
crazy.
This slider here, you can just see how slick the teeth are on it, how they're rounded
Uh-huh.
like that. That's just where they just grinding it in the gear and stuff like that. All your blocker rings and stuff. If I can find a good one. You can almost see a cross hatch on some of them in there, like a, it's like a brake shoe is what it is. There's the one that was giving you problems. It didn't have anything left.
Oh, wow.
It couldn't stop the gear.
And you were able to find replacement parts? for these?
Yeah, I called and they had the whole, I had to buy a whole kit, bearings and everything, but they had all of it in Louisville. And then I had these two shift forks right here. See how they've been welded up?
Oh, yeah, somebody...
They welded them up and ground them back down just with a grinder. They didn't take them apart to do it,
Yeah.
Plus I did pretty good for what they had, but it wasn't straight. You can see where it was trying to jump over that one.
Uh-huh.
Right there. And I called and I told him, I said, well, I knew nobody had these. And I said, what about the two shift works? He said, well, I showed two in Louisville. And I said, which two is it? And it was them. So
Oh, really?
I ended up doing good, yeah. Bearings was pretty good. This bearing back here had been hot. It had run dry and turned it black. Here was their shims. They had put them in the wrong place, and that was what was left of the shim in the front.
That was inside there?
Yeah, that was in the front up there where it wasn't supposed to be.
Well, I'm glad we didn't try to go off-roading with that.
But yeah, it turned out pretty good.
Alright, well, I appreciate you doing that for us.
That ain't no problem whatsoever.
It would have been a bummer if we'd have got all the way out there to the west and this thing blew up on us. Hopefully nothing else does.
We got you a couple of stickers for that wall you're going to do one of these days.
Yeah.
So I figured it's a Scream automatic. They make trans brakes or not trans brake, but manual valve bodies that I use.
Oh, thank you.
Ignore
Got to
it.
get my sticker wall going here pretty soon. Got tons of stickers I've been collecting. He's got some extras for me there.
All transmissions come with, they fit oodles of year models and different stuff and everything the kits do.
Yeah.
So I save all the extra pieces and throw them in a box somewhere or another, and then every now and then I'll find somebody like you and I give it to them. I call it a box of woe. Like when you open it up, it's like, whoa. You won't know what any of this is, but at one point in time, you'll find something in there that you can use.
Oh my goodness.
So there's springs,
Oh, wow.
there's clips, there's O-rings, there's little pieces, some stuff you'll never need. But
Some of that would come in handy. All these little O-rings.
yeah, packs of O-rings and stuff. I've had my buddies to call me before, and they'll say, man, I got that box and fixed.
Even springs. Look at these springs.
Yeah, springs.
We're always looking for springs. I got a big jar, like a pickle jar that I keep springs in. Oh, there you go. Look at that.
There's you some springs.
All kinds of goodies in there.
And for some reason, they smell like perfume, and I've never figured that out. You smell it?
It does smell pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the paint.
There's some reason or another it smells like perfume. I've never figured out exactly why. So.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Sweet. Look at that. He's such a cool guy.
A box of woe.
A box of woe.
Yeah, it's kind of like I used to have it was my brother's, but it was a 48, one of the big old 48 quart coolers.
Uh-huh.
It was painted silver. We called it Big Silver, and it was full to the top with bolts and washers and nuts.
Uh-huh.
but we had a snow shovel, and you just dump it out in the floor and you swim around in it.
Yeah.
And shovel it back in there. And somebody want a boat, we point back there. They just say, never mind.
That's my problem. Is my bolt bucket is getting so deep that all the small ones go to the bottom, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
the heck with it. I'll just go to the parts store.
You know it's in there, but you're digging for it.
Yeah, trying to find it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much. And we'll have you over to the shop one time.
I'll come over there and you can give me a tour. And I'll help you put some of them stickers on that big wall.
If you guys need transmission work done, if you can pull your transmission out, put it on the back of a truck, bring it over here. Russell is your guy, so give him a holler. I'll leave his information right here.
See you later. Thank you.
I think it's Marty McFly. Alright guys, we're headed back home with the transmission. Josh asked me if I could find this little Schrader valve for the ORI, but Hope's gonna kill me if I miss lunch, so we're gonna head back home and see if I can fix this little Schrader valve instead. I've only got a couple minutes. She's gonna be so angry! Made it back! Did you guys get into trouble while I was gone? Look what I found.
Oh, that's a beautiful sounding gun.
Oh yeah. That's a get rag. Lunch lady! What do you got for us today?
Oh, today.
I came all the way back just for this.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, lucky you. Today is chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles? Look at that. Oh man.
Bacon and eggs.
What is this, like breakfast?
It's whatever I make it now. I'm the lunch lady. I choose what we eat, and this is what I have to
I
do.
told everybody that you were going to be really mad if I didn't make it back for lunch.
I do get mad when he doesn't make it back for lunch, only because he usually doesn't tell me he's not coming back, and then I just have all this food. You're such a turd.
Told you guys, she's going to be mad. Let's check this out.
You can't harass the lunch lady.
Alright, this is the first time I've had 3 people working in the shop, so I'm kind of confused as to what to do here. We got 3 different projects going on. We've got Josh in there working on the transfer case. Kyle over here is working on the skid plate. What did you guys decide to call that? I don't know yet because I haven't released that video, but whatever its name is, that's the big ginormous skid plate, and I'm going to start working on the gas pedal. So we don't have a gas pedal in here, and I despise the gas pedals that hinge at the floor. So what I want to do is create something that is different, and we're going to put it right there, of course, but I need to weld it to that probably. And I'm thinking I could take the gas pedal out of the Toyota here because it won't impact our budget. We've already paid for this thing, and it's got a gas pedal right there. So maybe we'll just cut that off and use that. I think that'll be the simplest solution rather than trying to fabricate something from scratch right now, because we're in a little bit of a time crunch, as you might know. I can't do it. I can't cut it. I feel bad. I feel bad for this Toyota. I can't do it.
It's a Toyota, it's fine.
I'm gonna make something custom. It's gotta be Mad Maxy. I can't do it. It's just too dainty. It's too dainty for a big, giant 12-valve Cummins monster truck. I can't have a little dainty gas pedal like that. All right, back to the drawing board. All right, here is the brake pedals. This is a template that Josh had made to make the clutch pedal, same as the brake pedal on the Holy Grail. So I think what I want to do is make this the gas pedal, but it needs a backing. So I'm going to make this slightly bigger. Grease on there. Alright, we're waiting on paint to dry there. Josh is working on transfer case still over there. I need to get a different drill bit so that I can drill and tap this. We're going to put 3 bolts into here. Kyle's been taking the paint off over here. Looking good. We're kind of all over the place today. What I want to do now though, I want to get this painted. So we're keeping this all Mad Max vibe unpainted, but the back we need to paint because it's going to have the bed and a headache rack right here, and you won't be able to get to that and recoat it with the shark hide or whatever we're going to use to keep that from rusting. So before we get the bed and all that, we want to take this window back out, which, man, that was hard to get it in. Now we got to take it back out and paint this, but we needed to make sure that it fit. That's why we put it in there, and now we're going to pull it back out, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then paint this somewhat metally looking, I think. Could just leave it like that, but it would get a little rusty after a while.
We're better quality than that.
I'm hoping this window goes back in easier the second time, because the first time that thing was really tough to get in there. So we're going to tape this off and paint it. I know what you guys are thinking. That's the wrong color, but this is just a primer. Don't worry, we're going to get this color matched to look very similar to raw steel. As I mentioned, we're all over the place, so I'm going to replace the kingpin components on this axle. This is for the Holy Grail. We're also taking care of U-joints for the 24 Hellenbach on the Scorpion crawler. The drive shaft had a bad U-joint, so that's getting replaced. And I ordered a drill bit that was the correct size to drill and tap this for 3 bolt holes. The reason you want to do that is just for added extra strength. Especially on the Dodge axles, they are real close together rather than separated. I also drilled a middle hole in that Barnes 4-wheel drive upper plate to accept that bolt, and then the leaf springs will go right through there. Uh-oh, runaway wire wheel. I'm also going to pull the carrier and clean out the axle tubes. Those things have a lot of mud in them. You can also use a handle of a broom, but I couldn't find a broom handle, so we're just making one out of steel. And then that's going to be used to push and drag the dirt and the mud out of the tubes. Yuck, that was nasty. Hey Josh, I got a brilliant idea.
Alright.
We're going to put this in there. So we've got this ginormous parts washer from Ranger, and since that axle is narrowed, it just fits in there. So I think
this thing said it can do 1,000 pounds.
it can rotate 1,000 pounds on there. So that's not anywhere close. So it should be good as long as it clearances here going around. Oh yeah. All right. Just a big giant dishwasher. Oh, washing machine's done. Woo! Ow, it's hot. Oh, God, it's hot. Let's see how clean it got. A lot better than it was, that's for sure. It's a little warm though. Oh, can't even touch it. It's too hot. Looks like it got everything pretty good except for the inside the tubes, which is understandable. Let that cool down for a minute. Alright Josh, tell us what's happening.
Trying to drill a hole, ain't working. It's just moving around too much. It's an 1.25 inch hole. So we're gonna try to put the axle, the whole axle, in the drill press. We need a mill.
It's the same one as what I already have hanging, so
Okay. Well, that didn't go as planned. Drilling off the edge of the stone.
It's going.
It working?
It's working.
Tell us what you're doing, Josh.
I'm trying to drill an 1.25 inch hole. Trying real hard.
He took off the edge of that because we're having a hard time getting the 1.25 inch drill bit to not wobble around when it's going through this big chunk of steel. Step bit's working much better, but it doesn't end in 1.25 inches. And now it does.
Except now this bit's shot. Is that what's happening?
You probably unhardened it with all the heat from the grinding stone.
Yeah, great.
Well, you annealed that. You can harden that drill bit back. We can get it really, really hot and then throw it in a quench.
We need to sharpen it.
Yeah, it's probably not very sharp anymore.
How do you sharpen one of these?
I don't think you do. I think you just buy a new one. Let's put it back in here with this. Today we're having all kinds of issues, so we've resorted to dremeling that thing. We can't get a drill bit to actually pierce it. I think it's still hardened. This thing, there's a race inside here that we can't get out, and the lip came off of there. So I'm thinking we can make a custom tool. So my thought is to take this and bend it right at the end here with some heat, and then maybe we can get that from the other side, because right now it just slides past. But if we had a little lip on there, we might be able to get it. There's what I came up with. Let's see if that'll do the trick. So the race is right there. Let's see if I can get a bite on it. Need a bigger hammer. But I can't hit it too hard and hit the threads on the end of this. Thing's in there good. Too good. Has to come out if it's liquid, right? Oh, it moved. That's promising. Oh yeah, that worked. I just need to get around to the back side of it. Ha-ha! Look at that. So we both learned something today. Get your Dremel in there and cut it in half, and that'll make it collapse on itself and come out much easier. That thing was so thin, every time I got a hold of a corner or something, it would just rip it. Now hopefully I didn't scar this up too much. Oh yeah, it's just a little scratch, nothing bad at all. Alright, good job guys. Josh, teach us something.
That's just air.
Yeah?
When you're spraying, always have that going.
Yeah?
And then when you're on your panel, then you pull it the rest of the way. And when you come to the edge, you let off, but keep the air going. Otherwise, you get this spurt of 100 psi. But if you always keep the air going, it's nice and smooth.
I didn't know that. I learned something today. We both learned 2 things today. You and I. You're gonna make this Jaguar look too nice, and people are gonna think it's way more than 20 grand budget.
It is way more. We got like 50 grand into this thing now. Just kidding, people.
Don't say that. People are gonna think you're serious.
Just kidding, people.
That other 30 grand is all in paint. Alright, moving back over here to the Holy Grail, I'm going to paint the back of the cab silver to match the Mad Max theme of the no paint on the edges. Now remember, you're not going to be able to see the back of that really because it's going to be covered up, so it just needs to be somewhat close. I'm getting tired of shaking this can though, and I had an idea. What if we just do this? That didn't work very well. It just sawed right through the tape. I'm not giving up though. I'm going to use more tape. That's what I'll do. Okay. I'm going to have to perfect that a little better. You know what I could do is weld something on here where it's like a quick clamp on there. Brilliant idea. Maybe I could use the air hammer. I think that would lend itself better to welding too. Alright. I guess that'll have to do. Hard to tell where the paint is because it's about the same color as the primer. This thing's coming out a lot nicer than I originally anticipated. I hope you guys are liking the Holy Grail build as well. This thing has to be done really soon because the Onyx Build Challenge is coming up. I hope you'll take the time to vote for us. I'll leave a clicky and the goobly gobbly below, so make sure to do that right now, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.